Hello everyone, this is Hopespoir here. Welcome to another World of Warships commentary. This time I will be featuring the Tier 8 IJN cruiser Mogami. Now, looking at the team lineups here, or whenever it wants to come up. Okay, so I look immediately at the enemy team anytime I'm playing the Mogami to do a threat assessment, and I assess the threat as being high. We are bottom tier, obviously, which puts tier 10 battleships in the game. The Kurfürst and Yamato are extremely dangerous, and so is the Iowa. The North Carolina interprets I'm not as worried about, but the enemy also has two Kronstadt, which are just as dangerous to a Mogami as a battleship. And the Henri on top of that obviously can also be absolutely devastating with its reload booster and large AP shells. So I would judge the threat level in this game to the Mogami as being high. As many of you probably know, the Mogami has pretty good damage potential. It can do quite a bit of damage, but it is also extremely squishy. You can take citadels from any angle at any time from battleships, and I would also say ships like this kind of, what do you call them? Battle cruisers or super cruisers. It's another term that I've heard used, but probably battle cruisers, like the Kronstadts in this case on the enemy team, are quite capable of scoring really weird citadels. The Henri, if I'm angled well enough, I wouldn't really expect any oddities with Henri AP, but with the reload booster and the big shells, high penetration for a cruiser can also absolutely devastate me very quickly. Now, looking at the mini-map at the beginning of this game, we see that the two flanks, the A flank is weaker. There was only one battleship here, one cruiser, and one destroyer starting here. The other side has two cruisers, two battleships. And so to even this out, we have decided to come towards A. I wouldn't have minded going either direction in a Mogami. D would have been a little easier because there's more island cover, but I'm happy coming this way. We are tier 8s, we're bottom tier, so bringing two tier 8 battleships this way along with the Montana that's already here will provide pretty good battleship firepower, whereas the other side has the recently buffed and rebuffed Izumo, which is now a fairly strong ship with the Conqueror. The other side also has a Stalingrad, obviously, which is very, very powerful. We have a radar on our side in the form of the Kronstadt. Now, the first thing that I immediately think is I'm going to head in fairly close here. I'm taking a pretty close in trajectory to A to try to cover my destroyer. The Grossovoy is going to try to cap A to try to cover him as much as I can. Now, we spotted Tashkent here, but he's at a range where I have a very low percentage shot at him. I'm unlikely to hit him for very much here. And because the threats on the enemy team have not been identified yet, they've not been spotted, I'm holding my fire. Because I don't know how risky it is for me to shoot. The Yamato and the Kurfürst were spotted. Now one of the Kronstadts is also spotted. Because that Kronstadt is in a div with the other Kronstadt and the Iowa and Kronstadts are probably also on the D side, so we're probably fairly safe on this side. And we're expecting the Tirpitz in North Carolina on this side. There's the Tirpitz just showed up on the mini-map. The North Carolina is here. So right now I'm going to start engaging these destroyers because we only have the Grotzovo here. The Z-46 is off, doing shenanigans off at the map edge. Unfortunately, our Grossovoy goes down immediately to a torpedo. I get 6 penetrations on the Grossovoy for minimal damage, only 2,000. I don't know how that happened. And we're taking fire from the Henri immediately. I have to be very careful that he could swap to AP. So having come this far, and I'm running my Hydro to spot torpedoes, I'm going to turn around here. I take a pretty big hit from the Tirpitz, unfortunately. So Bantam has just decided in chat, time to go. I agree. There's no real reason to kind of hang out on that corner. I'm much more concerned about what might happen in A. Those enemy destroyers are absolutely going to come back into A and try to cap it now. If you look at the mini-map, the enemy's taken D, and I don't see any possibility for our team to contest D for quite a long time. I would like to prevent the enemy from capping A for as long as possible here. So I knew the enemy DDs were going to linger in A because they didn't have it and they killed their Grossovoy. So I just put my torpedoes in there and I get a hit, which is very, very good. Right, because they killed our destroyer, they figured it'd be safe to cap. That's what I thought. I thought they'd come back in there. try to cap it. Put my torpedoes there. I'm going to put more torpedoes in here again now. And then I know that my torpedoes on the other side, I'm just checking the time now. They're reloading in 15 seconds. I'm going to turn and put more torpedoes in there. Hopefully I can catch those destroyers. What I'm thinking now is that they're probably aware of where our ships are. They can see our battleships sailing towards D. They may come pursue them, so I'm going to put my torpedoes over this way in case they're coming this way. Oh, and there's the Tashkent. We spot him at 11 kilometers. He's got a lot of health. Hopefully I can take some off him. I only have 2 turrets pointed that way, unfortunately. But I get 6 hits for 5,000 damage. That is very useful. Okay, so you can see that I've done 18,000 damage now. It's all to destroyers. So I've already got 18k into destroyers. But things are still not looking good because we lost that Grossefoy to torpedo strike right off the start, and gunfire, I guess, as well. I don't know if he took 1 or 2 torps, but man, he lost a lot of health very quickly, which was very unfortunate. Okay, so our Z-46 has stopped his shenanigans and he's come into A. But the thing is, okay, so the good thing is we just saw the Tashkent run away. So he doesn't, unlikely that he's going to have to contend with him for a while as he tries to cap. But I'm concerned about the Grossefoy coming in and fighting the Z. And then the Tashkent will be within firing range of him. While I wait for destroyers to possibly show up, I work on the North Carolina a little bit. Okay, so the Tashkent has been spotted. I'm going to circle back around here. Hit the other way. So if destroyers appear in A, I'm going to try to put myself in a position where I can help our Z with those destroyers. On top of that, I don't want to put myself too close to North Carolina. So one of the major mistakes in playing the Mogami that I can make... Let's see if we can get a shot on this Tashkent. Our Z is obviously taking more damage here. I don't like the chances of our Z surviving. So I want to help him out as much as I can. Okay, so another reason I turned around is I don't want to put myself too close to the North Carolina, and I already am very close to him. So one of the biggest mistakes I make playing the Mogami or cruisers that are fairly squishy is that I overextend. I get too aggressive, I want to push my DPS, I get too close, and then I can't avoid taking hits. And then, as I said earlier, any hit from a battleship at any angle has the potential to citadel the Mogami, unfortunately. So I'm intelligently keeping my distance here. I'm already a little closer than I should be. Luckily it's in North Carolina with slow shells, which gives me more time to dodge. Now one thing I want to mention about my cruisers is I don't use priority target on any of them. I look to see who's firing at me. So, as you can see, my detected symbol doesn't show any people aiming at me, but obviously the North Carolina was because he just fired at me. So I'm going to do my dodge. And you can just hear the shell splash, or maybe you can't because I've probably got the volume turned down in the game. We've got the Tashkent doing a nice turn here. 13 penetrations for 6,500. Only that much? Oh, torpedoes, get me out of the way. I'm going to run aground. Not too concerned about it at the moment. The Tashkent's about to get behind the island. Their Grossefoy is in smoke. I should be able to become undetected pretty easily. Come on, I need to get some hits or Zed's in a lot of trouble. And he goes down to the Henri's gunfire, as a matter of fact. Henri with a North Carolina. Okay, yeah, so I don't use priority target. I don't use it on any of my cruisers. Do I ever pay for it? Every once in a while, but my just from my map awareness, from my situational awareness, I'm pretty aware of when people are shooting at me. I don't need priority target. I know that most commentators tell you you have to take it. I know that most streamers and video makers use it. Can it be very helpful? Yes. It definitely can. but I have a pretty good sense of when I'm being shot at. There. Oh, see? The Turpitz, he's firing at me. You can see that. He does hit me fairly well this time, but I was aware that he shot at me. I could see. Okay, so we don't have much chance of holding A here. Luckily, the North Carolina was killed. The Z, before he died, did land a torpedo. Oh, Girl's Voice just appeared. This is what I'm talking about, map awareness. Right? A lot of people, not only does my map awareness help me dodge, instead of using priority target, look at this, 7 penetrations. And if I was aware, if you look at that, or if you saw that, the moment the Gros Savoy appeared, I started turning my guns to him immediately. There was probably like a third of a second difference from when he appeared on my mini-map to when I was already adjusting my aim for him. Right, and that comes from map awareness. The same map awareness that allows me not to take priority target. Okay, so we see the Kirkus running around here. He's not getting away. We're going to kill him. I see incoming fire towards Bantam as well. From the distance, the Iowa. He says, oh, am I telling you not to take priority target? No. Okay, so most cruiser players, especially in something like the Mogami, will want to take priority target. I'm just saying that it's not an absolute necessity. I've never used it. Would it save me some damage? Yeah, probably. Is it worth taking for 4 points? For me, myself, personally, it's questionable. When I get my captain to higher skill points, I might actually end up taking it. See, now I can tell that the eye was shooting at me. I just saw that. I can see his shells coming through the air. And I'm turning to dodge them. I don't need priority targets, tell me that, right? And you shouldn't too. You should be able to see the fact that he just fired and his shells are coming towards you. You should always be aware of... Now, I'm not always fully aware. It depends on how I'm playing, if I'm having a chat while I'm playing, if I'm tired, whatever. But when I'm actually properly attentively playing the game, which is not as much as it should be probably, I'm aware of these stats. I can see these shells coming very, very quickly, basically immediately. Like that Iowa, the moment his shells were in the air, I just saw that immediately. Okay, so now I'm going to back up and try to help out with the Iowa, because the only 2 possible ships that we have engaging that Iowa would be Bantam and the Kronstadt, possibly the Montana now, even though he's fairly far away. Now I see Bantam coming towards me. I'm going to use him as a shield in case the Iowa... Now you can see the Iowa's guns are pointed towards me. But I see Bantam coming in. I'm going to use him as a shield in case I get shot at. Now the Iowa is shooting at me. And I'm positioning myself so that my citadel is covered by Bantam. And you can see that he acts as a shield. I only take 1 overpen to the top of my ship. Thank you for being my human shield, Bantam. I'm not sure that Bantam's going to stay there to be my shield much longer, so I'm going to pull back. Now, as it turns out, he did kind of stay there. So I could have stayed there and continued using him as a shield. But while I'm using him as a shield like that, I can't really fire. Like guns, I might be able to get a couple of them off, but my DPS is going to be extremely limited. So I just thought, forget it, let's get out of here. Look for other opportunities. We've got a Kronstadt over here that needs to be hurt. We have an enemy gearing that I would love to kill. We know that he's, there he is. Okay, so he's around the island. I want to kill him. I'm planning on going up there and killing him. Iowa goes down, which is fantastic. Now this is a long range, 13 kilometers. For a DD like the Tashkent, he's got to be really predictable, and even then, it's hard to find him. But at the moment, I judge the threat level to be absolutely minimal, so I tried for it. We're still down on points. It looks like we're coming back in this game. It was looking really bad for a while. So right now, I'm going to sail forward. Okay, you can see the Gros Savoy in front of me. I thought that he would spot any torpedoes, even though I don't have hydro running. So that's why I felt safe to drive forward and push into that smoke, because I saw the corrosive void there, I would get lots of torpedo warning. I'm doing a turn now, U-turn now, because I noticed the gearing came out from a smoke. He's running, he's coming this way. I'm going to try to cut him off. And let's see if we can kill him. Okay, now you see I could just see his guns there. He was shooting at the corrosive void. So there's no way his torpedo tubes could have been turned this way to launch torpedoes now. But there's a possibility that he preemptively did before. Oh, the Kronstadt shooting at us. See, I can see that. I can see his shells leave his ship towards me. He is shooting at me. Once again, I don't need priority target to tell me this. Okay, I did not know that the Henri was also targeting me, so that would have given me that information. Okay, so I turned initially because I didn't have my hydro ready yet, and even though I knew that the gearing could not have launched torpedoes at me at the last moment because his guns were turned towards the corrosive void, he may have kind of just guesstimated that a ship might be coming this way and might have put his torps here. So I turned, and then when I popped my hydro, I could kind of figure out that there are no torps coming here. But in any case, I'm fairly low on health. I'm going to come up. I do not want to enter the firing range of a Kronstadt and an Henri, obviously, by myself. I do that a lot in a lot of games when I get kind of it's a psychological thing, right? There's a lot of games, it depends who I'm playing with, what I'm doing, where I get over-aggressive. I'm like, oh, I'm going to push in, do a lot of damage in my cruiser. It just doesn't work out. I have to play intelligently like I'm playing here. I have to be aware of everyone who's shooting at me, especially. I have to be very aware of the distance I'm keeping to potential threats, and be aware of them. I have to look at them. I have to kind of like see who they're engaging, who they're targeting, where their guns are pointed. If they possibly shoot at me, yes, no. If they could possibly shoot at me, then I have to check where their guns are quite frequently to see if they actually are targeting me, so I don't get deleted in a ship like the Mogami. This takes a really high level of awareness to play this ship, even if you're using priority target, and I don't. So the only times I actually play this ship properly, and so you can see I open water in this thing most of the time. I rarely hide behind islands. It's hard because of the low arcs of the ship. I do sometimes when I can, but I open water this thing, and as you can see, I dodge a tremendous amount of battleship AP, Kronstadt AP in this game. Okay, so now we're just working on the turrets. Finally, we get a chance to farm some damage. I've had fairly little opportunity to farm damage in this game because most of the game I've been hunting destroyers and dealing with destroyers. So finally, I get to farm some damage. Oof, feels good to be able to do that. So we have a fire in the turrets. Still burning away. Henri manages to kill a Kronstadt from really long range from fire, but I return the favor on their turrets with my fire. That enemy Henri's just been long range spamming the whole game. What a selfish way to play the Henri. He's probably gonna get decent stats. Do a lot of damage. Our corrosive void's done pretty well. He just killed the enemy Kronstadt. Killed the Yamato earlier. The corrosive void's done a reasonably good job. I mean, he didn't go to the cap at D for a long time, but he couldn't. D was covered by... The enemy had a very forward position on D. Very aggressive position with radar cruisers. I think he was doing about the best he could there. He was doing damage. He was up forward spotting torpedoes to an extent. So Banham just mentioned that he has 1.8 million potential out of this game and 150,000 damage, which is pretty good. For turrets in a tier 10 game, this was not an easy game for the turrets, so he's done well. Finally, I return the favor and get some fire on the Henri. I haven't had the chance to do that because he's been far away, outside my range for most of this game. Can we kill him off with this salvo? 2 pens only. That looked much better than that. So I was hoping that we could get that kill and then kill the Tashkent, but we didn't manage to do that. The Henri manages to kill Banham. Okay, can we get the Tashkent then? This salvo looks pretty good. Can we get him? Oh, that was close. Are these shells going to have time to arrive? No, they're not. And that's the end of the game. So just a quick look at the stats here. We did 97,000 damage, 97,275. it's really a pretty good amount of damage considering that I was fighting destroyers for the majority of this game. You know, like I've spent very little time shooting at cruisers or battleships. You can see, Banham and I basically carried this game, and along with that girl Savoy who did a good job. He did do a good job on that D flank. Banham and him were tied, 2,000 apiece. Here you can see 7 penetrations on the gearing for 4,701. On the girl Savoy, we did 21,584 on one single destroyer, and then the Tashkent we did 12,493. This adds up to 38,100 roughly. So we did over 38,000 damage to destroyers alone out of the total of 97,000. That's basically how you play this ship, right? Like you do a lot of damage to destroyers, you can farm other ships when possible, and you can dodge. You dodge, you wiggle your ship, and you dodge incoming fire. It's a really high skill floor ship to play this style, but it can be extremely effective this game. I love the Mogami when I don't get random citadels. Thank you for watching, and see you next time. Hopespoir signing off.